Hey everyone. So for the longest time I've been wanting to do a review of these speakers here, these Triangle 40th anniversary Comete speakers, because my everyday speaker that I have in my system are the Triangle Bro 3 speakers, which look very, very similar to this. In fact, it has the same driver with it, but obviously the tweeter is different, but the form factor is the same. And I know the sound signature of the Triangles, and I always wanted to give these ones a try. So I decided to get it in. I borrowed a pair from Altitudo Audio. They're nice enough to lend it to me. I've had it in my system now for approximately well over a month. And I'm finally ready now to sit down and do a proper review of this gorgeous looking speaker. This is the Triangle 40th anniversary Comete. Let's get into it. So the Triangle Comete 40th anniversary bookshelf speaker is a two-way speaker. It is designed and made in France, so you don't see that every day. It comes in three finishes. It comes in a golden oak finish, a blonde sycamore finish, which is really nice, and also this one here is the rosewood finish, rosewood Santos, I believe it's called. It's a very, very beautiful finish, very luxurious and high-end feel. The tweeter for this speaker is a rose gold anodized magnesium dome tweeter that is designed for high efficiency and of course to control distortion. And it's more like a horn type tweeter, I think, which is a lot different than the regular soft dome tweeter that comes on the Triangle Borea Bro 3, which is my everyday speaker. The mid-bass driver for the Triangle speaker is the same one that's on the Bro 3. Pretty much it's the paper cellulose mid-bass driver, so it's made out of paper cellulose, and that gives it a very natural tone to the mid-range of the sound of the speaker. These speakers here are 90 dB sensitivity, which is very similar to the Triangle Bro 3s. I believe those were 89 dB sensitivities. So that means it can work with a wide range of amplifiers, from low power tube amplifiers on up to whatever your AB amplifiers or Class A amplifiers can handle, and can drive it to satisfactory volumes no problem. So regular price in Canada is about $3,000 Canadian when they're not on sale, and about $2,000 Canadian or $2,000 US. Okay, now I'm going to go over the sound with these speakers. Let's start with the bass sound of it. So I think with the bass in it, I think it's a very good bass. It's very textured, very refined. I wouldn't say it's the punchiest bass though that I've heard in a bookshelf speaker. It's more than the Bro 3 speakers that are my everyday speakers. These are quite a bit deeper than that. But of course, for bass heads, for anybody who wants, plays a lot of electronic music or maybe some rap and hip hop, those types of music, you're probably going to want a subwoofer with it. I never felt the need to use a subwoofer with them. I thought there was enough extension, enough refinement for the music that I listen to mostly. I do listen to a little bit of hip hop, but a lot of classic rock, classical music sounded very good. I never felt like I needed a subwoofer to go with it. But yeah, if you're going to want to go, if you need music and you like, that punch and you want to go deep, you would definitely need a subwoofer with it. But for what bass it does have, it's very tight, quick, and refined, I would say. And I think it goes, for 90% of the people, I think that this speaker would have enough bass for you. Okay, now let's talk about the mid-range for this speaker. I think the mid-range in here is probably the star of the show. For me, the voices came across very clear, very articulate. It just presented itself in a real natural way. Nothing sounded, off, or anything was a little bit veiled or anything. I never got that sense, no matter what song I played or on which amplifier I was using for it. I think a lot of it has to do with the electronics inside that are an upgrade from the Triangle Bro 3s, but still continuing with the cellulose paper mid-range woofer, because I think it gives you a tone that's very natural and warm sounding, and it really, I think, highlights the vocals and plays everything really well in the mid-range, including strings and piano and stuff like that. Everything sounded very natural with these speakers, and I think it was I think for me, that was part of the speaker that I really enjoyed the most was the mid-range for it. Okay, now with the higher frequencies with the treble. So yeah, with this tweeter here, obviously it's a lot different from the Triangle Bro 3s and also, what you normally see with typical bookshelf speakers. Usually they're soft dome tweeters and, maybe it's a few ribbons in there as well. And of course clips with horn tweeters. But this one here is quite a bit different. I really appreciated the detail of these, of the highs on it. But it was really dependent on where you place the speakers in your room. So let me give you an example. If you toe in the speaker right in your direction, like right towards your ears on both sides, it'll give you a lot of information. You're going to hear all the nuances and stuff like that, especially with like lower volume. If you put your music on lower volumes, you like to listen to lower, it could really like still deliver all that information to you and stuff that a lot of audiophiles like. Once you turn the volume up, though, if that tweeter is still at you, in particular if it plays passages that are really high in treble sibilants, a lot of cymbals and stuff like that, it could be a little bit too much for you. I'll be honest with you. So for the most time, I did test it out with quite a few songs when it's pointed directly at me. However, most of my listening section, I did kind of tilt it out, so I still put it into a degree at you, but it was kind of like outside shoulder where I had the speakers pointed towards me, not directly at my ear, and that really tamed, I think the information from the tweeter that was just about to my liking, especially when I use like my Unico Primo amplifier, the Heat Elixir amplifier, A-Class AB amplifiers. This tweeter could, at times, when it was pointed directly at you, could be a little bit too much treble, a little too much of a good thing, where it wasn't overbearing or anything, but it was just a little bit too much where it's getting to that point where, no, you couldn't listen to it for that long. So if you pointed it, slightly away from you, and then that information was still there, not quite to what it was before, but then it never got fatiguing or anything like that. And that's, I think, where the treble really excelled. Yeah, and while we're talking about using this speaker with all the different types of amplifiers, look, like I said before, all of them were definitely efficient enough to drive these speakers to loud volume. They all sounded great, but for me, on the tube amplifiers, I think you're going to get the most enjoyment out of these speakers because it presents, it kind of, because this tweeter can present a lot of information, and with a lot of tube amps, it kind of tames it just a little bit, where it gives you more of a warmer, fuller sound, where I think these speakers really excel. So for me, if I were to have this amplifier in my home, or sorry, the speaker in my home as my main unit, I'd probably drive it with a tube amplifier to get the best results. And it also would provide for longer listening sessions, absolutely, with that. Okay, now for a few speaker comparisons. So the first one that I want to do is to compare this one to the KEF R3 Meta. Both speakers itself are about the same price. They both have a similar size factor. They're both around the same size. I think the KEF R3s are a little bit taller. All three have different finishes, which are all very beautiful premium type finishes, which I like. Sound-wise, though, I think overall the KEF R3, because the tweeter, that meta tweeter that's on it, that really provides a lot of detail, but never fatiguing, and it kind of disperses the sound a little bit better. I think overall that a lot of people it would probably suit them more for a variety of different type of music. This one will give more information on the tweeter for sure. But like I said, sometimes depending on the amplifier you use can give off a little bit too much information, where that doesn't happen on the KEF R3s. That could, you could run that with multiple different amplifiers and it'll all sound great. As far as bass goes, this one does dive a little bit deeper than the KEF R3 Metas. The KEF R3 Metas, the bass was good on it and it was texture, but it didn't go quite as deep as this one that I found with my testing with the amplifiers. Mid-range, they're both kind of equally as good to me. Imaging and soundstage, very similar as well. I think the KEF R3 Metas maybe dispersed a little bit better, so maybe slightly better in soundstage, but they're very close. So the main difference to me, I think, is how you like your treble presented. So if you really like every last detail of information, these ones would probably provide you with that and probably play a little bit better at lower volumes. where the KEF-R3 Metas are kind of more of an all-arounder that disperses a little bit better. Still gives you a lot of information in the tweeter, but just presents in a slightly different way. So that's my comparison with that. Okay, and the second speaker I want to compare it to is, which a review I haven't done yet, it's coming up, is the Audiophysic Classic 3 speakers. And that's a German-made speaker compared to these that are made in France. Again, the price is very similar. These are about, like I said, 2,000 US, and those are very close to the same. I think just under 2,000, around 2,000 US a pair as well. Form factor, these are quite a bit bigger than the Audiophysic. I'll present some pictures here. But again, two-way design. Now, to me, on the sound, depending kind of what you're looking for. So the Audiophysic would kind of, I think it punches a little bit deeper, even though it is a smaller speaker. It does get a little bit deeper in the bass. So I think, and the tweeter is a dome tweeter, so you're not getting quite the information. If you really like that crystal highs and stuff, and you like things that play good at low volumes, I think this one would be a little bit better for that. But as far as the Audiophysic Classic 3s, it just gives it a little bit different way. It's a smaller speaker, doesn't play quite as big, but does punch a little bit deeper in the bass, and still really presents a really nice sound overall for what you're getting with it. Doesn't sound as good with tube amplifiers, sounds better on AB amplifiers. So it's kind of what you like, and it could come down to even aesthetics. If you like really the look of the speaker, if you like a little bit more of a classic looking speaker like the Audiophysic, you might like that better. So it's a little bit different each way, but overall they're both very good speakers. Okay, so what are my final thoughts on this speaker? I really like it. I've had it in my house for about 2 months now. The good people at Altitudo Audio, of course, lent me these speakers, and never told me, what to say or anything. Just, what are your thoughts, and just let us know. So shout out to them. I'll leave their links below to their website. So to me, this is one of those speakers that I've always wanted to try. Like I said, my Bro 3s are my everyday speakers. Of course, they only retail for about $500 to $600. These are about 5 times more than that. So I always wanted to see what was the difference between going from entry level to kind of higher level, and now I know that the difference is, even though the tone of both speakers are the same, these ones just obviously take it a level that keeps going up and up. Obviously, aesthetically, you can't even compare them. This finish here is just absolutely beautiful on these speakers, and they have another 2 luxurious finishes. So if you really like the look of these speakers, and they do look the part absolutely in your house, you will not be disappointed with it. Great tonal sound to me. I really like the overall sound of these speakers. I like how it gives more information. I like how the bass presents itself. Not overly punchy, but definitely enough to satisfy the most musical taste, most genre. I think these speakers play best with tube amplifiers, like I said. And, it's great for all types of music, especially like rock music, classical music. Just presents everything with a really, really nice sound that I think a lot of people would like. Highly recommended, especially if it's on sale. So, like I said, it's on sale right now. I'll leave some links below. Check it out. You could save almost $1,000, especially if you live in Canada on it. But check it out as well in your US stores, because who knows, I think Triangle has some sale going on right now. So I'll leave some links below. Once again, thanks to Altitudo Audio for letting me borrow these speakers, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for joining me.